roll with it, all right? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to day one of Mountain West Football Media Days live, straight from the Strip in Las Vegas, Nevada, live from Circa Resort and Casino. I'm Nick Urias here with KSJS Sports and San Jose Student Radio. We're live on YouTube, or we're going to be live on several other platforms, but guess what? It's 9 a.m. sharp here, and we are off and running. And we got the man of the hour.
Yes,
he came to our booth a little early, which is always a nice little warm welcome. Cage Casey, offensive lineman for Boise State. How you doing, Cage?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Obviously a big year for you guys last year. We were chatting up a little bit before. As much as the Mountain West was kind of, rooting against you in a sense when you guys were going head to head in league play, I feel like everyone was kind of rallying behind you. I certainly was, just from a bird's eye view. Did you kind of, get the sense in that a little bit? Like, wow, we got a whole lot of support here just because, this is unprecedented.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can tell it's always bittersweet for teams that we beat because, they lost and they don't get to go further in the season. But at the same time, later in the season, especially once we were in the talks for the playoffs, there'd be teams that would be, I'm not going to name them for goodness sake, but there'd be teams that we beat, and then the guys would come up to us afterwards and they'd be like, hey, we're rooting for you, go win it all. And it's just like, we're all in the Mountain West. Like, we're family, we're a community, and it really felt like we were getting the support.
Yeah, no doubt. That San Jose State game last year in San Jose, I mean, was that one of the more crazier games that you had of the season just because of how things panned out? You guys down from behind, dealing with adversity. San Jose, sneaky good place to play. I mean, sneaky difficult place to play, right? I mean, that crowd was pretty rambunctious, the obscure stadium, if you will, as well. Just talk to me about that matchup because that was pretty wild.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was my first time playing at San Jose. And like you said, it's definitely like the sneaky crowd. You don't fully expect it. Sneaky team. I knew they were good going into it, but I mean, we definitely dealt with a lot of adversity there. I mean, being down by that much and then, rallying back to, make the win through the second half was amazing. I mean, it shows you what a team can do when we really rally together and fight through adversity.
No doubt. Well, I hate to do this to you. We got the Air Force Falcons waiting right now. They are scheduled to come talk to me right now. You're going to come back here in a little bit. I promise not. We're going to finish this interview, but these Air Force guys are waiting for me right now.
It's all good.
So we'll catch up definitely later.
Thank you.
I got a plethora of questions coming for you and some heavy hitters as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
No problem. How's it going, guys? Whatever works. We got one mic for you guys, so if you guys don't mind sharing that would be perfect.
Gotta make sure my hair is looking polite.
Yeah, we got a nice little camera right here. Okay, so we got the Air Force. We have the Air Force Falcons here joining us to start off Mountain West Media Days. We had a nice little early introduction there with Boise State, but we got Bruin Fleischman, we got Luke Freer. Fellas, how we doing?
Good.
Mike's right there.
We're doing well.
We're doing good. Just in our service dress. We're ready to go.
Yeah, you guys are dressed and ready to go. I absolutely love it.
Yes.
Yeah, talk to me about, just obviously it was not the season you guys envisioned last year, but you guys really picked things up down the stretch. And I thought you guys were one of the most improved teams in the second half. Just talk to me about that run. Was there anything in particular that kind of changed during that second half to really spark things?
Yeah, I mean, I would just go along and say that we were a super young team. That was very known from the start of the season, and that's no excuse. 3 games in, right? You're not a young team anymore. But I think we started rolling and we started playing as a team. So we weren't just a young team. We started playing as a team those last 4 games, and we got a streak going that we're hoping to keep going next year.
For sure.
Yeah, going along with that, we just figured it out as a team together. I feel like Bruin said, we're a young team, but with 3 games in, you're not really a young team. So it was really just finding who we were and just adapting to that.
Luke, just talk to me about, the art of the punting position, especially the way that you guys play games, right? Time of possession, you guys want to drill the clock,
Exactly.
ball possession is crucial whenever you guys play. You guys, just talk to me when you're kind of in those low scoring grudge matches and you're kind of out there kind of dictating things.
Well, I think it's kind of ironic, my position, because I train so hard and I really love what I do. But at the end of the day, in games, and especially those tight games, the last thing I want to do is go out there and punt, because it obviously means we're giving the other team, ball possession.
I don't want them to punt either.
Yeah. But especially in those tight games, though, just winning the punting battle, averaging more yards than the opponents, and really just winning the field position battle is the difference in some of those tight games.
Yeah, for sure. Just talk to me about what you guys got coming up this season. Like I said, you guys finished the season off strong last year, trying to carry things over. I think you guys got one of the most underrated coaches in the country with Troy Calhoun. Just talk to me what he's doing to prepare for you guys. You guys got a new quarterback this year, but obviously, you guys got a very nice luxury of returning a lot of players that have kind of, worked their way up and, have been waiting for their opportunity.
Yeah, I would just say Coach Troy Calhoun, he's a great coach, and we're just so structured and systemed, right? So our game plan is going to be, pretty universal, and it's focused on us, right? It's not necessarily about the other team and stuff. We're all focused on us being a team and how we're going to play, and that really translates well into all the teams that we play, right? And so I would say that goes good, and then it begs the question, new quarterback. Well, it doesn't really matter who the quarterback is. Like, we have players, we have athletes that'll be able to get the job done, and when they get put in that system, they'll be athletes and they'll be able to perform at a high level, and we all know that they will be able to.
Yeah, the triple option offense, obviously, only very minimal teams run that offense. People probably look at the running backs, the fullbacks, maybe the quarterback a little bit. Give us a little pitch here on the tight end position and just how significant it is to the offense.
I mean, I would go as far as saying like the tight end in our offense is considered like a lineman at that point. So just an extra tackle, right? But you get occasional times to make a catch every once in a while. And the beauty of the whole thing is for all of our receiving cores, when we do throw the ball, you're not really expecting it. So you don't have time to overthink it and necessarily like have like bad drops or anything like that. So you can make pretty spectacular catches in that sense. So that's the hidden gem of it all, I think.
For sure. I want to get your guys' both perspective on this because we're here with San Jose State. The contrast in styles with San Jose State and Air Force, especially with the whole new coaching staff that the Spartans have now, is polar opposites. The Spartans, you guys got a taste of them last year. These guys, all they want to do is sling the football. While you guys, all you guys want to do is just pound the rock. Just talk to me about how difficult that is, just the contrast in styles within that sense of, between the Spartans and the Falcons, because you guys do come to San Jose this year.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, we just got to focus on what we do, and what we do best is running the football. We've built this system. We've run it entire Air Force, entirety. So we just stick to what we know and just keep doing what we're doing.
I think the difficulties lie with the defenses, right? The offenses know what they're going to do. So the offense's game plan, and it's pretty much what they do no matter what, right? San Jose is going to throw it. We're going to run it. Focusing on us mainly, our defense practices against our offense a lot, right? And so they're really accustomed to the run. So then they go against a team like San Jose and other schools in our conference, and they have to deal with the pass too. So that's a bit of a threat, right? And so I think it's however they perform against the pass is a testament to our defense and our coaches as well, because they're able to prepare for that when we have such a high focused offense around running, right? And so same goes for San Jose, right? When they're preparing for our triple option that runs the ball really heavily, they have to do the same thing defensively to prepare that super opposite scale that they're only going to see one time a season, right? And we know how it feels too, preparing for that, because we play Army and Navy, and both them do the triple option. So we know how you guys feel prepared for it, and it's not fun. So
for sure, you talked about your defense. And I cannot believe he was not on the all conference list, but Peyton Zadroik on the defensive line. I mean, he was just absolutely incredible last year, blowing up the line of scrimmage, keeping you guys in games with his, line of scrimmage and, just the point of attack, blowing things up. What does he bring to the table that you guys are going to absolutely need here, to stay in these ball games this year in the Mountain West?
Yeah, well, first off, he didn't get the honors because I think he was injured for plenty of games, which was very unfortunate for our team as a whole, but also for him getting all of those stats and whatnot. But I think he he's obviously a team captain. He's a leader, and like everybody on the defense follows around what he does, right? And people look up to him, and so that's what you need out of him. And regardless of if he's a good player or not, they look up to him as the man he is. And so I think that's valued for our entire team as a whole. So you got anything on that?
I actually share a locker right next to him. He's a
Okay.
great dude. Really looking forward to this next season. He's going to bring it, like Bruin said, who's injured most of the last season. He's just going to use it to go out next season and show what he can do.
All right, give me one player that is going to show up for Air Force this year that maybe necessarily didn't show up last year, that maybe spent his time in the pipeline, that's going to get his opportunities this year and is going to show up and show out that Mountain West fans need to know about.
I got mine.
You go first, then. I'll fill out mine.
I'm saying Liam Zarka. Like, I think he got a couple snaps last year, but you'll see Liam Zarka. You'll know his name here shortly.
Honestly, I'd probably say Reagan Tubbs, our kicker. He's going to have a great season. He's been behind Matt DePore the past 3 years, but he's just as good, and he's going to show what he can do this year.
That's a great question. Yeah, that's a good question.
All right, last year, the Mountain West, as we know it, lots of change coming in next year. Just talk to me about the significance of what your rivalries. We already know that the commander-in-chief is a special one for you guys, but, going up against, the Colorado States, the Wyomings, especially the teams that are going to be pivoting away. How much do those games mean to you guys in the sense that, hey, this who knows what the future looks like? This might be our last chance to, for extra bragging rights.
Right. Yeah. We kind of had a taste of that last year with Fresno because we knew the schedule for this season. We weren't going to have Fresno, so that would be the last time that we would play them. So that's kind of where we got our season rolling a little bit at the end there. So I think you can expect similar things for that, like, knowing it's our last time and giving it our all.
Yeah, just going along with that. It's our last time playing them. Just give it all we can. Obviously, CIC is on top of what our pecking order of things. But at the end of the day, rivalries are what we can do, and we got to go out there and win them.
Great stuff, guys. Bruin, Fleischman, Luke Freer. Pleasure
Thanks so
talking
much.
with you guys, spending a couple minutes with me.
Oh, we appreciate you.
Yeah.
Good questions.
Have a great season, guys. Thank you very much. We are live from Mountain West Media Days. We got Cage Casey. This guy's been waiting for Boise State. We got him a little bit early. He is back in action as we are live here straight from the Strip in Las Vegas, Nevada. Cage, you're back. Thanks for abruptly leaving and then coming back. We highly appreciate
It's all
that.
good. I needed some water anyways.
There you go. You got the H2O flowing here. Just we were talking about, just the great season you guys had last year. And, just kind of, in a sense, a lot of people rallying behind you guys, even some teams in the Mountain West. But obviously the headliner last year for you guys was Ashton Genty. Just from your perspective, as being an offensive lineman, watching that guy go to work, any given moment in a game, he could rip an 80-yard run. And it seemed like he did that like 20 times last year.
Yeah.
Just talk to me what it was like, throwing down the blocks for a guy like that who obviously you can make a very strong case he should have won the Heisman.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with your last point too. But Ashton's a different breed. You see all these college football players, guys in the Mountain West, guys in any conference, and then you look at Ashton and you see his work ethic, and it is second to none. This guy just puts his head down. He gets to work. And that's what we noticed day one. Him and I both graduated. We were the same class coming out of high school, both graduated early, came in the winter. And just the amount of work that I saw him put in compared to every other person on the entire team. And that didn't stop. He got his All-American honors after his sophomore year. He got his all conference honors. But that didn't stop him. He wanted more and more. And that's what we saw last year. I would see him over the summer with the running backs every single day after every single workout, after they've already done extra drills, going out and doing more while it's still 100 degrees outside in the middle of the day. You just see the amount of work that he puts in and the amount of work that he forces other people to put in, because if they don't put the work in, he won't let them play. And that's the type of person Ashton Genty is, and he deserves everything that was given to him. And from that, going into season, those huge 80-yard runs, every single hole that he hit in perfect timing. This guy knows football like the back of his hand. He can read the field in a split second, hit any hole. It's just amazing to see him run.
Have you got a chance to chat with him now that he's in Vegas since you've come out here, or is that TBD right now?
No, I haven't gotten a chance to see him yet since I've been out here. We were a little busy yesterday with golf.
Fair enough. Yeah, I know. That was I wouldn't say trending on Twitter, but that was definitely out there on the spaces. Everyone's probably going code red that Ashton Genty isn't here, but let me tell you, just from someone that's been looking at the Mountain West for some time now, Malik Sherrod is really good, upperclassman from Fresno State. Sire Gaines, I think, is just a hidden gem. That this guy, the fact that he's only, I don't even know, he's 18 years old. I mean, like freshman, got his season cut short. I mean, you guys are really set for a big time day on the run again this year.
Yes.
Based on that production.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, just like you were saying, I mean, we got a really good running back room coming back in. I mean, that's one thing I think Boise State prides itself on is just the running back room that we can bring in and how well we can coach running backs, especially. And so while we did, yes, lose the runner-up to Heisman, I think we still have an insanely talented and insanely strong running back room that is going to pave the way as far as we can go. I mean, I don't want to say anything because we got to put the work in. We got to put our heads down. We got to grind. But, I mean, we're going to be a good team this year.
Was the Storming the Field Mountain West Championship, was that an all-time moment for you in your collegiate career?
Absolutely. I mean, that's hitting the mountain peak right there. And then, of course, looking up and seeing the next peak. But, yeah, that was amazing. Completely unexpected. We're focusing on the game. We don't see everyone, going up to the gates and getting ready to storm the field. And then all of a sudden the equipment guys are coming over to us. Give me your helmet. Give me your helmet. Like they don't want anything taken by fans. But it was an amazing moment.
Did you expect it to get to as crazy as the field goal post in the river a couple miles away?
Absolutely not. No, that was a surprise.
Fair enough. Everyone's talking about your offense and, what you guys bring back on the offensive line. By the way, a banged up unit for you guys last year, and you guys bring a lot back. Your ground attacks be really good, but Maddox Matson, I thought for a junior and a guy that won the starting job last year, I thought had compiled some great fourth quarter drives for you guys, in particular at UNLV in a low scoring grudge match. Talk to me about his development. You're in the room every day with him. What are some elements where you've kind of seen his game grow?
I mean, when you talk about Maddox Matson, you can never leave out his football IQ. I mean, this is the type of guy who spends hours every single day in the film room, and he knows the field. He knows every single defense, what to expect. I'll make a call out to the nickel who I think is blitzing, and he'll just completely veto it. He'll be like, no, the Mike linebacker is blitzing, and he is absolutely right every single time he changes the call. And, I put my full trust in him. I think that's a huge part where his development continues to just thrive and grow every single day and every year, as we can see. I think it's going to be a massive step up from last year, like it was the year before. But I think his football IQ is, it's next to none.
Just talk to me about, just this defense as well. Defense returns a lot. You got plenty of guys that are on the list for some accolades along with yourself. Just talk to me about the defense. Did have some weaknesses, but a unit that it can improve that you guys probably believe in as well. But you're going up against that defense and that defensive line. What's in store for the Bronco defense?
Ooh, I mean, when I think of our defense, I just think energetic. I mean, these guys, every single play, you just don't know where you're going to get. They have gotten to a point where they can hide their blitz patterns so well. And that's sort of like where I was saying, hey, I'm going to go out to the nickel. Maddox like, no, you don't see the full picture. You don't see the full picture. Go in. And he's right. But, I mean, our defense has taken a huge step up this year with how well we can hide our blitzes, with just athleticism and as a whole. Coach Hilger, our strength coach, has done an amazing job making us the fastest team. And, I think our defense is going to shine this year.
Your schedule this year, obviously an intriguing one. You're at Notre Dame. That's kind of the That's kind of the one that's kind of circled on, the big non-conference game for you guys. But, you're going to be going into the humidity in week 1 at South Florida. I know you got a taste of that last year in Statesboro versus Georgia Southern. Just talk to me about, like, before you head into the Mountain West schedule, your non-conference slate a little bit, because, you're kind of flying all over the place, several time zones. And I think you got an App State team coming into town as well.
Yes.
Just talk to me about the calm before the Mountain West games, but it's not really calm because you guys got yourself a challenge in front of you.
Yeah, definitely not calm. But I mean, when it comes to non-conference games, it's always hard because they're not teams that you usually go against. And so you really have to pick out which games to watch of theirs, because you're also watching guys who you don't go against. So you're like, okay, this offense is sort of most similar to ours. We'll watch how their defense plays against them. And especially for South Florida, we're the first game of the year. We've changed up some stuff. They've changed up some stuff. And so it's always first 2 quarters are always going to be unpredictable a little bit. But I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it's always fun to, travel. We've headed to the South 3 years in a row now. And I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be great. Like I was saying, unpredictable at times, but I always love the non-conference games.
Yeah, I know, right? Just, outside the ordinary, little obscure places you've never been, hostile environments. I mean, that's, and, you guys got the game at Notre Dame, and that one, if you guys, want to be where you want to be like you were last year, that's going to be kind of like the game like Oregon last year for you guys, right? Where, you guys are going to want to put on a good performance on the road in a hostile environment. Before the CSU guys, give me come on, Spencer Danielson, your head coach. Just
he's amazing,
awesome. Talk to me about him very briefly.
I mean, an absolutely amazing guy. When you talk about just a genuine person in life, he's that guy. When you talk about someone who's never fake, who's always going to be themselves, who loves Jesus and is not afraid to say it. You walk into his office, you see his Bible, his journal on his front desk, and he's unapologetic for it. And, outside of even that, just the genuineness that he brings to the team, that we know exactly who we're going to get every single day. He always comes with a smile on his face. He always brings the energy, even when, he just had a son born like a month ago, and he's not getting sleep, but he still brings the juice every single day. And awesome. I can't thank him enough for that.
That's awesome. Well, Cage Casey, offensive lineman for Boise State, best of luck this season, and go get him out there on the blue.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
You as well. Thank you very much. We got Colorado State coming on here pretty quickly. We got Braden Fowler-Nicolosi at quarterback, along with Mukandi Wakalonji for CSU. We're live here at Mountain West Media Days, Football Media Days, that is. Live straight from the Strip in Las Vegas, Nevada. Yeah, go ahead, guys, whenever you're ready. Yep. Yeah, we're live right here. Yeah. How's it going? Nick, nice to meet you. We got one mic for you guys. Nice to meet you. We're here with the Colorado State Rams. Guys, big year for you guys last year. Obviously, you kind of took a stepping stone for yourself in your sophomore campaign. Now that you're a junior, you're an upperclassman, you get another year here in the pipeline in Fort Collins. Talk to me of just about what things that you've been working on, because not too long ago, everyone was watching you in your freshman year, tear it up in Boulder.
Mm-hmm. I mean, been working a lot of different things, more the mental game than anything, just focusing on how I can slow the game down and take advantage of the opportunities that defenses give me and not miss those opportunities, because I've done that early in my career. And so understanding how to be effective and efficient on the field has been the focus this offseason.
Mukendi, you guys got a lot of moving parts on this defense. Some upperclassmen that are, not on the team anymore, and you guys got a new defensive coordinator. Just talk to me about, the change in scheme a little bit, and, some new faces. How's the adjustment been for you guys as a unit and yourself personally this offseason?
I feel like the adjustments have been pretty well. The chemistry is really there. We've been clicking really well. and a lot of us are just trusting the process Coach Summers has been giving us, just studying, watching film with him, understanding what he sees and what he expects from us. I feel like this year I just really want to be a lot more dominant. So if Coach wants me to make a play, I'll be able to do it. He could look at me, I'll be able to make the play for him.
Obviously last year is the Mountain West as we know it, and you guys are going to probably be playing some rivalry games for who knows how long, but maybe the last time we may see it for the long-term future. Obviously, the border war is a big one for you guys versus Wyoming. Just talk to me about winning this one this year and the significance of that, knowing that this one could mean extra bragging rights for you guys.
I feel like honestly, every single year is really important to us. We feel like we love the boot. We want the boot to be in Fort Collins. The fans love it. When we got it back last year, it was an amazing feeling. So just honestly, I feel like we're just gonna be seeing them still every single year. Honestly.
Braden, how do you gotta answer to that?
Yeah, I mean, it's another week. It's another week. We got the same goal every week: go in there and get a win. And so obviously that one has some significance and a lot of history behind it. And so it's really exciting, a really, really fun environment every year, no matter where we play it. And fun game last year. It's going to be a fun game this year.
Talk to me about this offense a little bit. You guys lose Torrey Horton, which I imagine, for CSU fans and even for you guys in the building, it's just kind of, might be a little bit outside the ordinary just for what he gave to that program over these years. But just talk to me about some of the moving parts. You got a lot go out. You got a lot coming in. You got some players graduating. Just talk to me about some of the moving parts and, what should we expect here from CSU football here on the offensive side?
Yeah, I think you said it perfectly. We got a lot of moving parts, a lot of people going out, a lot of people coming in. And so there's been a lot of change, but with that, there's also been a surprising amount of consistency because of the experience that we still have on our offense. And so it's been awesome. Like you mentioned, Torrey did a phenomenal job coaching up these younger guys that are coming up and teaching them the ways to become a great receiver. And so it's been awesome to see these younger guys kind of evolve into that role and step up. And so we're really excited about what we got and excited to show everybody.
How would you best describe your wide receiver room this year? Maybe a descriptor, character trait, just a new room, obviously, with, some prized possessions in the portal. How would you best describe that unit and what they're going to provide?
Fireworks. They're fun. Yeah, they're going to be a good time to watch.
I like that. Mukendi on the defensive side of the ball. You had yourself a productive year, but you're obviously looking for a little bit more. Just talk to me about what you're looking for yourself personally, trying to set the tone early and provide out here for the 2025 campaign.
I'm just really looking to be really destructive, like causing a lot of havoc to the offense. Last year I had a pretty decent year, but I wanted to have an even better year this year, a great year. So what I'm looking forward to is more pressures, more QB hits, more sacks, just cause more havocs. I felt like last year I was kind of there, but not quite there. I feel like this year, with the experience I had from last year, with the amount of reps I had last year, I feel like this year will be a decent year.
Your head coach, Jay Norvell, obviously a guy that's very vocal, animated. He's not afraid to speak his mind. Just talk to me about, what he brings to that locker room for you guys and how he pumps you up every Saturday, sometimes Fridays, for all these ball games every day.
Mm-hmm.
What does he bring to you guys that juices you up?
It's like the subtle things. Sometimes he'll just be talking, and out of nowhere he just explodes. And that's like the little things that catch me. I'm just like, I'm chilling. And when he explodes, I'm like, oh yeah, it's time to lock in. Especially like pregame. He's like, I'm like chilling, listening to music, relaxing. And once he explodes, then like the new music comes in. Now I'm in my own headspace now. I'm ready to go.
Love that answer. Well, Colorado State Rams, Braden Fowler-Nicolosi, Mukendi Wakalonji, thank you for the time. Appreciate you. Have a great season.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. There you have it. There's the Colorado State Rams. Got the CSU entering their last year in the Mountain West as we know it, which is obviously a big change, right? I mean, this is kind of unprecedented in a sense. We're gonna be getting a whole new remodel of this thing. Come a year from now. With Northern Illinois and UTEP coming into the fold, so it's going to be some change. I'm most certainly not going to get you. It's going to take me some time to get used to it, and all the travel destinations and such. But that's the way things go. Conference realignment is a part of the game now, and it's the way things are aligning now. I mean, you see the way basketball, the WAC conference is absolutely been dismantled. So this is kind of the era that we're living in now, with college athletics, right? The NIL is obviously a big part of that. You got to have deep pockets if you want to acquire players. That's the way things have, come along now. And, we're going to the point now where we're going to get new teams in each league's, regionality and such is, not going to really matter so much. To me, I personally don't like the fact that we're not going to get those rivalry games anymore. And that's why I asked those CSU guys, talk to me about, playing in the border war for the first time, for, potentially the last time, and who knows how long, because they haven't come to an agreement on that, on, if they're going to play those games anymore between CSU and Wyoming. So, and, those are obviously big to the league. We're going to talk to Gloria Navarez tomorrow. I'm just interested to get her take on that, right? That, all of this is happening, the mass exodus of, conference realignment. And, all of a sudden things are kind of, just blowing up, and you're getting these rivalry games that are over 100 years old, and you're just not going to be able to play them anymore. So, that's what stinks about the whole fact of this, all of the change. And, it's interesting to get the guys' perspective on that. That's why I asked, Cage Casey on, what, just what he thought about, playing in San Jose last year, because, obviously he's a senior, but, Boise and San Jose are not going to be playing anymore. So, that's obviously some big change that is, happening within the college landscape. But hey, good to talk with the Colorado State Rams. It was a really good year for them last year. I mean, look, they had a softer end of the schedule, no doubt. We'll talk about the schedule here in a little bit, with some of these teams. But look, San Jose State's definitely got the softer end of the schedule, if you will, avoiding Boise State, avoiding UNLV, no Colorado State this year, but they get the Fresno game at home. So that's definitely a big time plus. San Jose State is kind of like Colorado State last year as far as the schedule is concerned. So that's very interesting. But look, Colorado State had themselves a good year last year, 8-5, 6-1 in the Mountain West. Avoided UNLV and Boise State. So like we said, they kind of got rid of, they got the soft end of the league schedule. They still played some tough games. The game at Boulder I thought was a little bit disappointing from their end. That was considered a coin flip game, and, Colorado took them out to the woodshed. So, that was unfortunate. I say this all the time, folks, that, in these Mountain West games, you always want to, or in the non-conference games, you always want to root for the league. You always want to root for the Mountain West team because, it helps out the metrics, for a Boise State, or for, a team, you never know, a San Jose State, a UNLV that rips off that goes on an insane tear, this season, they're rooting for, the better the strength of schedule, the better. And, then the conference wins only mean more, later in the year. So I always just tell people that, that you always want to just be rooting for those Mountain West schools, like Boise, like San Jose State fans. You should be rooting for Boise to win at Notre Dame this year. That's just the way that, things are. That's just the way that, the pie gets sliced, right? So, it's very interesting perspective. But, look, we're kind of all over the place right now. We're killing some time. We're waiting for our next set of student athletes to come in here. But hey, thanks for everyone that's joining us presently here from Las Vegas, Nevada, for live from the Circa Resort and Casino. Haven't checked out the place just yet. It's been an early morning for us. We literally just walked in and set up the gear, and Cage Casey from Boise State was literally waiting for us. and kind of caught me by surprise a little bit. But guess what? That's the way things go. That's the way the business is. Sometimes you're going to get thrown with the curveball, and it's about how you handle it. So, that was definitely a nice surprise this morning. But this is the way things go right now. But just to talk about Colorado State a little bit, because we were talking about the schedule and things along that line. Look, the Rams offense last year, 65th in total offense, 96th in total defense. They brought in a new defensive coordinator. Mukendi Wakalonji talked about it with Tyson Summers replacing Freddie Banks as the Rams defensive coordinators. Summers actually served this role as with CSU back in 2015. He was at Western Kentucky 3 years for the past 3 years. So he's back at CSU. So a little bit of continuity there. Hasn't really worked with these players though, because that's like a 3-4 year gap since he's last been there. But he says the change in scheme, it's been working well. Obviously, we'll see how the numbers go as far as CSU is concerned this year. So, but hey, that we'll see how things pan out. Their schedule this year is much more difficult. They got to play Boise and UNLV this year. They don't got Colorado on the schedule, but they got some other teams that are definitely that are definitely not going to be very easy. I believe they play Washington State at home. Like that's a very polarizing team this year with all the changes with the Washington State Cougars. It's pretty much the South Dakota State Jackrabbit team from the FCS. With their coach and him just bringing in all of his players, so that's pretty interesting there. But yeah, CSU, the way the schedule aligned for them last year, it almost felt like they should have maybe went to the Mountain West Championship. At least I certainly thought. The way things aligned, we talked about it. No UNLV, no Boise. They had this rough game at Fresno at the end of the year. And, Fresno was kind of feeling themselves towards the back end of the season, even though they fell apart. And, it was just one of those games where, if CSU wins it, UNLV is probably not in there. And then, then all of a sudden you got a chance to play for a Mountain West championship. So, that stinks for them, obviously. But look, Jay Norvell entering year 4 as the Rams head coach. He's been around the Mountain West forever. He coached at Nevada with the Wolfpack. Year 4, I thought it was a critical. Year 3, he's got to get himself back to a bowl game, no doubt here, even with the tough schedule. So this is all a part of it. I wouldn't say he's on the hot seat or anything, but it's definitely one of those things. Like he's definitely gotta get back this team competitive. He's got Braden Fowler-Nicolosi, which I'll tell you what, that was a guy that was a prized possession in the portal. Like there was rumors Kansas State was throwing in big bucks at him last year, and he stayed the course. Sticking to that CSU pipeline. He wanted to keep going and grind as a Ram. So kudos to him. I have a whole lot of respect for the guys that come back in return, because look, you get life-changing money in this transfer portal. Like you're seeing Texas Tech's roster. It just came out like that they're paying over $20 million for their roster. Like it's absolute insanity. And just from that perspective, like Texas Tech is not going to even really be, they're in the Big 12 this year, where flip a coin on who's going to win that conference. So it's amazing how how the landscape has changed, and it's really changed here in the past 3 years, right? So it's been crazy to watch from a bird's eye view, and it's really just professional sports in a sense, like where you kind of got contracts going now. You got all these NIL deals, and it's really just all over the place right now. So Colorado State, credit to Braden Fowler-Nicolosi, for coming back, sticking in the pipeline, because he could have very easily gone to the Big 12 or elsewhere and said, hey, I'm bolted, because I got some life-changing dough here, and who knows if I make the NFL. And I got a chance to be set for a very long time here, just to be the starting quarterback for 1 year at a university. So, it's very interesting how, the landscape has changed, and, it's changed drastically. And obviously the Power Fives, are, kind of leading the charge here, and it's pretty much everyone, following from behind. But the Mountain West has done a really good job, at kind of, really staying the course here. They're they're the league that, is they're adapting. They're not really getting left behind, in a sense, like Boise State resources wise. I mean, the fact that they probably paid Ashton Genty a whole lot of money to stay with them last year. And, Cage Casey's probably getting some dough. They got tons of guys, like Malik Sherrod probably came with the price. They got a lot of guys. There's no doubt that Boise State, has been keeping up with the NIL, but so has Fresno. CSU is obviously doing some good things. I know San Jose State's got to improve here a little bit, but this is the way that, things are going right now, where, you either adapt or you get left behind. And that's the way the world of college athletics is going, and especially the way, with the House settlement is now. Everyone's going to be able to do all this revenue sharing and distribute it in their own ways. Some universities are going to prioritize other sports more than others. Obviously, football and basketball are king in this thing, but you'll probably see some teams prioritize softball or baseball or whatever the case may be. So I'm interested to just see how the athletic directors and, the head coaches, see how much is really, split amongst everybody, because, it's a very interesting time right now that we got. So just to put a bow on Colorado State. So, they got some key returners coming back. Obviously, Braden Fowler Nicolosi's the headliner at quarterback, which I'll tell you what, upperclassman quarterback, year 3 in the pipeline, that's a plus if you ask me. The interceptions, can be a little bit of an issue, no doubt, but you can stand up at a lot of quarterbacks, in college football. But if I'm getting year 3 and a guy in a system, like I'm taking that more often than not. So that's definitely a plus for them. They got running back Justin Marshall coming back. I know they graduated Avery Moreau, who has been there for forever, but they got Justin Marshall coming back. And they got, two all-conference linemen from last year, Aaron Karras at right tackle and Tanner Morley at left guard. So, that's definitely a plus for Jay Norvell's group. And then, we talked about it, Jay Norvell, Colorado State, and I'm very interested. I'm going to ask Coach Norvell this tomorrow as, day 2 for Mountain West Media Days. We're going to have we're going to talk to all the coaches. We're going to talk to San Jose State Athletic Director Jeff Konya today, but all the head coaches will be tomorrow. And I'm very interested in, just to get Jay Norvell's perspective on, and, just the logic behind, him adding a former quarterback of his to the coaching staff, and Carson Strong. Remember Carson Strong, 4 years at Nevada. He was like first team All Mountain West for several years. Tried the NFL route. Was on the couple preseason rosters. I think he got drafted by the Commanders in like the 5th round a couple of years ago. Tried some of the other the smaller tier leagues, and he was probably sitting on the couch, and Colorado State's head coach and Jay Norvell called and said, "Hey, you want to come be my quarterback coach?" And that's the way things panned out. So that's a very like off the radar hire that CSU made this year that really didn't get too many headlines. I mean, if you've been watching the Mountain West for a long time, Carson Strong was just an absolute football slinger. He was slinging it like crazy under Coach Norvell in that offense. I mean, that was a guy that had Romeo Dobbs, who's flourishing with the Packers right now in the NFL, the wide receiver position. He had Elijah Cooks. He had Torrey Horton. Like that offense with the Wolfpack, when they were competing for Mountain West championships, and they were a consistent bowl team. They were in the they were kind of in the conversation every year for a Mountain West championship. That offense was absolutely lethal. So you got to give them a whole lot of credit, for what they've been, just for what Nevada did. And I'm very just interested on that hire, and just for me personally as well. Just from an offensive standpoint, I think the offense does need to be a little bit better on CSU's end. They got all of these wide receivers coming in. Braden Fowler Nicolosi said himself, it's going to be fireworks. So we'll see if the wide receiver room can live up to their name. They lost Torrey Horton, they lost Caleb Goody to a Power 5. Like they lost a couple big names into the portal, but they also reloaded. This is a team that's got tons of moving parts, on offense and defense, like two new coordinators, like Mukendi Wakalonji's, kind of the guy on the defensive line now. They lost Boom Jock to Cal, when it's just a tackling machine at linebacker. They graduated, Henry Blackburn at cornerback, Jack Howell. Like they lost a lot of dudes. They had to reload, and we're gonna see what that team's all about. So CSU, they'll be an interesting watch, no doubt. While we got some time here, let's talk about some news that dropped today, right before we marched into the room here at Circa Resort and Casino, and that's the all conference teams. Obviously a big deal, to the media heads like myself, that monitor this stuff. But hey, I guess it's important to note, just to see who the media respects, what the league's looking out for, just some of the big names that people should be aware of. Preseason offensive player of the year, Boise State quarterback Maddox Matson. I can't really disagree with that. Maddox Matson, I thought was a quarterback that improved, drastically from his freshman year to his sophomore year. Now he's entering his junior season. We're expecting him to be better. As good as the running game was last year with Ashton Genty, I think it's still going to be good, but I think they're going to rely on him a whole lot more. And it's one of those things, for Boise State. Like, look, it took a lot of stones, I imagine, for head coach Spencer Danielson to be like, hey, we're going to start Maddox Matson, but we got to go over a guy in Malachi Nelson, who was a 5-star. Let me tell you guys, they forked out a whole lot of money for Malachi Nelson, and he played like a few snaps versus Portland State in week 2 last year. So, I think that tells you all you need to know about what the coaching staff at Boise believes in Maddox Matson, what he brings to the table in the locker room. And, I think he's going to take a positive step in the right direction this year. Junior season, he's got, plenty of eligibility left. I think he'll do some big things for Boise State this year. And, everyone's going to say, oh, well, he just has to game manage within that offense. But, I think, look, they got tons of wide receivers. He had himself a big time game winning drive last year versus UNLV, where, Ashton Genty didn't run the ball, good to his standards. It was like he ran the ball for like 96 yards and he had like 40 carries, which, all in all, based on like yards per carry and such is not great. They ran him down to the ground that game. UNLV's rush defense was amazing last year, but it was one of those things where, Boise, the Boise State offense, they were able to rely on him, but I think it will be a bigger, point for, everybody coming in here for, the Broncos here and Maddox Matson, to really show up here and, really show out and really showcase to himself like, hey, I'm a damn good quarterback here. And, the narratives and all of this about, Ashton Genty and this, that, and the other, I think he's going to come and have himself a really good campaign this year. So we'll see how that pans out. But preseason offensive player of the year belongs to Boise State's Maddox Matson. Which again, like I said before, is it the biggest deal in the world? To people like us, and Maddox Matson didn't travel with Boise State here to the media days, but I could tell you right now, he'd be like, I want the postseason award, no doubt. But that's just the way. That's just the way things go. They got to have awards for this stuff, and that's That's the way the media stuff works. So look, this is what we're gonna do, folks. We got ourselves a little bit of time. We're gonna take a short break. We come back. We're gonna take a short break. When we come back, we're gonna probably have our next interview lined up. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here as we're live from Mountain West Media Days, straight from the Strip in Las Vegas, Nevada, inside Circa Resort and Casino. Don't go anywhere, folks. We will be right back.
Sorry, I wasn't sure if I needed to go look for anyone.
No, they should be coming to us.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's like we have.
We are back live from Mountain West Football Media Days, day one. Day one featuring student athletes along with San Jose State Athletic Director Jeff Konya. He'll be coming on right around 11:05 or so. But we got some student athletes that are going to be marching their way here pretty soon. We got Fresno State's Jacob Spalmer and Elzillian Hamilton. Man, what a name, Elzillian Hamilton. Defensive back for Fresno. And we're going to have Nevada with Chuba Purdy and Thomas Whitty. Chuba Purdy. Anyway, we're gonna ask him about him being committed to San Jose State and then him decommitting, which is, just obviously kind of interesting. So we're gonna get his take on that, and we'll see the answer that he gives us for that. And then we're gonna round things off with the New Mexico Lobos right before lunchtime. So that'll be right around 11:30. And then is what we're going to do when we wrap up with the UNLV Rebels. New Mexico. When we wrap up with New Mexico, we're going to end our live stream here. We'll be back at around 1 p.m. and we will have a full set of interviews, but we're going to take a lunch break. We're going to chat it up with the hundreds of people that are here, and that we're going to do our thing in on that end. But we promise we're going to have student athletes from all 12 Mountain West institutions, and we're going to just keep it rolling here at Mountain West Media Days. And it was, I was during that extended break, it was interesting. I was talking with just a bunch of different media folks. Our friends from the Pit Press, Ryan Tamari, great personality, and Colby Dant, got to meet him from the College Experience and the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Great dudes, tons of personality, not completely unfiltered. They're gonna say it the way it is, and honestly, that's what we like here. So that is most certainly what we like. And look, we were just talking about the Mountain West, and man, there was a lot of buy-in with San Jose State this year. And we'll most certainly talk about this as the day progresses, when we get the San Jose State guys with Walker Egan and Taniela Latu with those interviews. And then, of course, Coach Ken Niamatalolo tomorrow during the morning time frame. But man, there is a lot of buzz. You just look around and you talk to people here that are that cover the Mountain West, and there are a lot of people like San Jose State this year. And obviously the schedule aligns itself, but man, they have a lot coming back. And I know the obvious answers are like, hey, Nick Nash is in the NFL, and you want to obviously root for a kid like that went undrafted. And quite honestly, I'm shocked Nick Nash got undrafted. But look, I think that was kind of a blessing in disguise in a sense, because he got to pick his destination. Undrafted free agent, goes to the Atlanta Falcons. And quite honestly, you're going to see him probably, fighting for a roster spot on that team. I don't think that's far-fetched. It's a good wide receiver room in Atlanta, but there's a chance that, first team All-American for, the Spartans last year, shattered pretty much every record you could possibly think of at the wide receiver position for SJSU. And, he came up and, really showed what he was about. And, he has a really good chance, to make an NFL roster. I don't think that's far-fetched at all. Everyone wants to talk about the age, but I think, the age thing is good for him. And I think, he might be 25 years old, but, that's the way things are going to go. As we got Fresno State coming this way. How's it going, guys? I'll take both if they're both available. Yeah. got one mic for you guys. We got the Fresno State Bulldogs, Jacob Spalmer and Elzillian Hamilton. Guys, how we doing here at Mountain West Media Days? Vibes are high, getting ready for the season.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right, so obviously you guys got a lot of change, coming in this year. Brand new offense, new head coach. Just talk to me about those transitions a little bit. New head coach and Matt Entz. What have the vibes been like? And obviously there's a lot of change of scenery here, but you guys are well established veterans here within the program.
Yeah, family oriented team. Everyone comes in, works hard. We're all bought in the same mission, man. Just coming in and winning games, no matter what it takes, and just trying to get that last Mountain West championship before the Pac-12 starts.
With Coach Entz, we thrive on fast and physical. So that's the main goal for our team. We want every team to know we're the most physical on the field.
Elzillian, first of all, awesome name.
Appreciate it.
That's an awesome name. I've done some broadcasting for San Jose State, and that is one, as a broadcaster myself, that is one that is definitely on the top of the list for sure. But it's just just names that roll off the tongue. But just talk to me. There's a new head coach, but also change of scheme here with the defense, right? You got Nick DiBenedetto coming over from Northern Illinois. Just the scheme changes. How have the adjustments been on that end? And obviously, you're an upperclassman. You're the veteran. You've been in the pipeline for a long time, and you've kind of learned from a lot of those guys, Cam Lockridge, for example. But just talk to me about the change on defense and how the adjustment's been on that end.
It hasn't really been hard. I've been at Fresno State 5 years. I didn't been through a lot of coaching changes, so it's really nothing new. Just learning the scheme as fast as you can, being in your playbook and everything.
All right, question for both of you guys. Obviously, you guys see the polo. We're obviously rivals here, SJSU and Fresno State. Just talk to me about the significance of the Battle of the Valley. You're going to be playing this rivalry game for several more years, but just talk to me about what that rivalry means to you guys personally here. Going out here every year in the annual matchup.
Yeah, it means a lot, man. Anytime you can play for a trophy, it has significance. But just knowing like you're playing for a game that people 100 years ago played for, and just every year it just keeps growing and growing. It's pretty surreal to be a part of.
I'll say that game is very important. It's competing the best valley, so we always gonna shout for the 559.
Hey, well, you guys got the game in the 408 this year. Season finale there. You get both teams kind of get the changes of personnel and such, and to kind of gear up for that season. Your fan base travels very well. Obviously everywhere, but to San Jose, it's not too far off the Pacheco Pass there. That's obviously a big game, but for you guys and for yourself personally, you're kind of going through a change, right? You're at left tackle and now you're going to the center. How has that change been a little bit? Because obviously you're kind of the center fielder of the offense now. Obviously the quarterback position kind of does that, but you got to recognize some things too on that end.
Yeah, it's definitely different from left tackle, but every day me and Crab work together. He's been at the highest level possible, so I just pick his brain, pick up on tendencies on the defense, man, to make my life easier and just help my offense just win.
Elzillian, Jason Jackson's a guy that's kind of caught, everybody's eye. He was highly recruited. His first year at Fresno was a good one. What's in store for a guy like that on the line of scrimmage this year? Because, quite honestly, I think, he's one of the hidden gems in this conference.
I ain't gonna lie, that's my guy right there. Yeah, he plays attention to detail. He do his assignment and he makes his plays. I ain't gonna lie, he's gonna be a big impact for us this year for sure.
College football video game year 2 of this. So obviously some changes, but you guys are the highest overall guys. You guys respect the overalls. I think you guys are like an 86, 88, something along those range. Too high, too low, just right. How we feeling with the ratings?
Personally, I should have been a 91, but it's all good though. By the end of the year, I'm gonna be a 95. I promise.
Okay. Well, have you reached out to EA on that yet?
I actually at EA to fix their game. So I ain't gonna lie, the man coverage on there sucks.
Oh, okay.
So but they just updated the game though. They made some adjustments, so they fixed it though. They
Okay.
got right.
Okay. So they're updating. They're updating it. We haven't even started the season yet.
No, yeah,
They're still working on his request.
They've been making.
Okay.
Huh?
They're still working on your request.
Okay. Still working on it. Oh my gosh. Jacob, how you feel about the ratings for you on your end?
I mean, it's just surreal to be in a video game, man.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean that's
Yeah.
awesome, right? I mean, the athletes didn't have this like 6 years ago, right? So that's pretty awesome.
If you would have told me in JUCO I'd be at 86 overall in a game, I'd be like, I'll take it. But,
Hey, you guys are polar opposites.
yeah, I do think he should be a 90 and I should be 88 though. But I'll take it, man. I'll take it.
Fair enough.
They do make their updates at the end of the year though, because last year I started at like a 74, and at the end of the year I was like 85. So
There you go.
they do make
Hey,
their updates though.
A couple INTs will help, right?
No, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
More than a couple.
Yeah,
More
there
than
you
a
go. You know, I feel like for you guys, just for Fresno State, just with a whole lot of change coming in, for a head coach to come in and for you guys to kind of to stay, with Fresno State, what does that mean for you guys personally, that despite all the roster change, because we already know how college athletics works now. For the most part, when a coach leaves, a lot of the guys will leave. What made you guys want to be established to the Central Valley for this year with the new regime?
I'll speak for the both of us, man. I feel like both of our goals are bigger than just NIL and college football. We both want to go to the league. The money's better in the league, but both of our dreams since a kid is playing the NFL, man. And we felt like staying here is the best opportunity for it. Coach has brought a lot of great staff on, a lot of football knowledge, man. And like, if you can learn from coaches that have been in the league, it just makes it a lot easier too. But our goal is the league, man.
I feel like you guys got one more on the way out here. Your ground attack: Bryson Donaldson, Elijah Gilliam, and Jonathan Arsenault.
A lot more too.
A lot more too.
Brando.
Yeah, just
Riv 925.
talk to me about that ground attack on the way out here.
I mean, it's all of them are good, man. They're all different. They're all unique in their own way. But whoever you put out there is gonna run the ball hard. No matter what play it is, no matter what, they're gonna give it all. So that's just I love blocking people like that. I love when they get tackled, they get up, they say something. But all of them are good, man. They bring energy, man. It's really fun.
Love that. Hey, well, best of luck this year, and maybe except for the last one, speaking for the San Jose State.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hey, appreciate you guys, Jacob Spalmer and Azillian Hamilton. Thanks for the time. Best of luck this year. There you have it, the Fresno State Bulldogs. I love it. They got some. These guys got some swagger to them. I like it. Hey, Azillian's got the bling, man. That's funny. Hey, well, we knew the Fresno State interview was going to be a little bit of an adventure, and that was definitely a trip. I love it because Elzillian comes in and he's like, my ratings are way too low, and he's the highest rated guy on the team. He's an 88 overall, and he's all like, you know what, I need to be a 91. And then Jacob comes in, and we'll give him some kudos. He's an upperclassman. He's been here for some time. He's cool as a cucumber. He's like, you know what, my ratings are good for now. So, but man, I knew it was gonna be a roller coaster of an interview with those guys, because they see the SJSU polo, and they knew, okay, we're gonna come swinging. But hey, picking their brain on a lot of changes in the Central Valley. I mean, let's just talk about Fresno State for what they did last year. I mean, they had Jeff Tedford, who was well established over there, and all of a sudden, he steps down, and all of a sudden they got an interim head coach. They're trying to battle through some things, and Tim Skipper, a longtime Fresno State linebacker. Credit to him. He came in a very tough situation, well established within the Fresno State staff. And, he came out and, represented and, got them. But there was ultimately a ceiling there. And, there was some games where they kind of, probably left some teams on. They left some teams off the hook, games that they should have won. And, that didn't happen. But, That's the way things go. And Fresno, obviously they got themselves a high standard. That's those are guys that, I mean, look, Azillian's been there for like what, 5 seasons now. Like those guys are dedicated to the program. And Fresno, they got themselves a rambunctious fan base. I was down there last year for the Battle of the Valley, broadcasting the game out there, and the crowd, give them credit, 60,000 strong or whatever the number was, and it was a hostile environment for San Jose State, and that was a game where a whole lot of things didn't go right for SJSU outside of the opening drive, and they came in and did some work. But I was just very interested to pick their brain on just a brand new coaching regime, because that is a situation in Fresno where you got the new OC, you got the new head coach, you got the new DC. Like for the most part, they lost a ton of dudes, but they actually brought back their foundational pieces, and I'm very interested to see what the team looks like with EJ Warner at quarterback. We were getting pressed for time, so we didn't get to ask too much about the quarterback position, but EJ Warner, son of Kurt Warner, ironically enough, but 3-year starter, played at Temple, played at Rice, got starting experience, was a starting QB from his freshman campaign. So that is a guy that brings in tons of experience. Goes back to our point on Braden Fowler Nicolosi earlier. That's a guy that is going, outside of learning a new system, that guy's not going to be unfazed of a big moment. So, I'm interested to see, what that comes in here. They got OC Josh Davis from the South Dakota Coyotes. South Dakota had themselves a high-powered offense in the FCS, so I'm interested to see what they bring to the table there. But that I have to say, with two foundational pieces coming back, one leader on offense, one leader on defense, Fresno's going to definitely be in the conversation to be doing some big things. As far as what they did last year, just their numbers under Tim Skipper, 83rd in scoring offense, 57th in pass offense, 85th in rush offense, 76th. Their total offense was. They should be pushing for better, quite honestly. And those guys would tell you 100% that they got to do better. But I think that ground attack is going to be really good for them. Like, they're going to win games. And Matt Entz, 2-time FCS national champion at North Dakota State, he was the head coach to Trey Lance. And then he had the other guy, my mind's going blank on his name, who just won the FCS national title like 2 years ago when North Dakota State. It'll come to me. But the bottom line is he had two mobile quarterbacks that could sling it, but they could also run it. Both of those guys had Cam Miller. That's his name for North Dakota State, the other guy I'm thinking of. He coached both of those guys. They both won national champions. Both great runners, but both with great arm strength. EJ Warner's not the greatest runner, so I'm interested to see how that pans out, but he's a pocket passer. He's going to deliver a dart when you need him to. The interceptions have been an issue for Warner. 58 touchdowns, 37 interceptions in his career. So we'll see if he can tie that down a little bit. They're going to need him to because 37, that ratio is not the greatest. I will say that much. But look, they're going to rely heavily on that ground attack. That's why I had to ask him on the way out. And, Jacob Spalmer does is just rattle off more names. And, that Fresno State running back room is very deep. And they're going to be running 3 guys deep, I imagine, for pretty much all season with Elijah Gilliam, Bryson Donaldson, who's only a sophomore, very impressive freshman campaign last year, and then Jonathan Arsenault. So very interested to see how that pans out. Obviously, they got Spalmer, who's, the anchor, and now he's moving to center on that offensive line, which will help things out with Warner a little bit, eyeballing some defenses at the line of scrimmage. But, just again, an intriguing team. It's a first-year head coach. The battle for the Valley is obviously a significant rivalry. And, look, San Jose State versus Fresno State, those games are, it's a pretty even series, like, overall. Like, it is right up there. Like, Fresno leads the series 45-39 lifetime. So SJSU's definitely had their number as well. Look, Fresno drilled them last year. I don't have the final score on the top of my head, but it was an absolute bloodbath on Fresno State's end, destroying the Spartans. But San Jose State, when the game was in San Jose, they came back and, delivered a big blow on Fresno's end when they had Mikey Keene at quarterback. So, this has been a back and forth rivalry. I'm really glad that they're still playing it despite Fresno State moving to the Pac-12 next year. These are rivalries. These are like to our conversation at the top. Regionality in these rivalry games that go back so long ago, they matter, and because that's what makes college football so great. So, I think that's very important for the sport, and that's I feel like that's what makes college football great. So I'm very excited, for SJSU and Fresno State. I think it's great that they're playing it in the season finale. Just adds more, green to the crop there. Rivalry game, final game of the year. Kind of feels like the same magnitude with SJSU versus Stanford a little bit. I know they haven't played the game in so long, but they're married to it for another half decade. So very, very interesting to see how Fresno State pans out here. Just because they got a lot of changes and there's not a lot of first year head coaches in the league this year. Like they got Jason Eck from New Mexico and Matt Entz from Fresno, and that's about it. Yeah. Otherwise, outside of that, everyone else is pretty established. Last year we had so many first year head coaches, and I think that's advantage to all the other well-established coaches, right? Because I'm interested to just get the transition from FCS to FBS from just Matt Entz's perspective, right? Because that's a guy that faced FBS talent from time to time, but still playing the lower tier FCS teams as well. Don't get me wrong, Montana State, South Dakota State, all of those the high level teams in the Big Sky. It's almost like you're playing an FBS team in a sense, especially when you get deep in the playoffs. But I think it's going to be a little bit of a change for him. He did coach at UCLA last year. He had himself an assistant head coaching job, so that might help him a little bit. But still, big shoes to fill. As far as their defense is concerned, Fresno State, 125th in total defense. They got to be better than that. 65th in scoring, 62nd against the pass, and 50th versus the rush. Azilian Hamilton's also back. Jason Jacks on the defensive line. He's going to be really good for them this year. I'm a firm believer in that. And then Jaden Davis, a safety, returns for the Bulldogs. But outside of that, they got a lot of changes. So I'm just interested in that sense. Just how things materialize. Obviously, Azilian feels good about it. Fresno State DB, but I don't know. It might be one of those teams that just takes a little bit of time, and by the time November rolls around, December rolls around, that team just might be firing on all cylinders. So they're gonna be an interesting watch here early. As far as just how things are, rolling for them on both sides of the ball. Like, that does the ground attack work more often than not? How is EJ Warner, from a rushing standpoint? Is he going to be is he going to be rolling outside the pocket and taking off and running? Because that hasn't necessarily been his game at Temple and Rice in his career, and that's the way that Matt Entz has really ran his schemes. When he was at North Dakota State. So, just a lot of question marks. And I think that they're going to be a very interesting watch at the start of the season. And, as we progress, they could be a team that peaks and gets a little bit better. And, by the time the San Jose State game rolls around, and who knows where San Jose State is at, come December timeframe, this might be, for a chance to the Mountain West Championship. You never know. Boise State is the preseason favorite again. What's new? They're always, I think it's like 18 straight years they're the preseason favorite, which is kind of nuts if you think about it. Like Mountain West is a good league. Like the league has improved over the years. Like you get maybe 5 years ago, you're kind of like, okay, the Mountain West has like a couple good teams. Like the bottom of the league is not so good, but that's what people were saying like 4 years ago, when San Jose State was the laughing stock. But now it's like one of these ordeals where, if like Nevada last year was the worst team and they had like 3 overall wins and they were feisty in a lot of their games last year, like that is a group. Like, at the bottom could be very, like the bottom of the league last year was actually very competitive in a lot of the games. Hawaii was like a borderline bowl team. Bronco Mendenhall with New Mexico had himself, a fabulous year. 5 wins. Now he's at Utah State. It's just the league is just better as a whole. And now you get this whole change of scenery. As far as the conference realignment is concerned, I mean, I'm just very interested. Once when the league does, have its exodus and breakup. Who's going to be like that top dog? Who's going to be the new Boise State of this conference? It could change from time to time. I mean, it very well just might be a UNLV and San Jose State in the forefront. Nevada might take a little bit of time with Jeff Choate. I'm a believer in Jeff Choate. He was very good in year one. I don't care what the record says. They were feisty in so many of their games. So I'm just very intrigued from that end on, just the league as a whole. And, once when they do have changes, what ultimately happens, because, there's a lot of uncertainty. And at the same time, who knows what the Pac-12, what it really becomes. Everybody thinks it's going to be a power league, but, I wouldn't be so sure about that. Sure, you're going to have Boise State. I think they're going to be a good basketball conference. When you got Boise State basketball and San Diego State basketball and what they've been, Colorado State, with what Nico Medved did, and then Ali Farouk Manesh. And yeah, we're good. Here we go. We got ourselves a surprise guest, a guy that we were just chatting it up with, Colby Dant from the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, the host of the College Experience.
Hey, thank you, man. How you doing, buddy?
This is awesome. I've been a big fan of yours, and we're finally here.
I'm disappointed that I didn't realize that you were there in October.
Yep.
And I didn't say hello, so my apologies.
It's all right. We were busy just as much as you were.
Yeah, and I'm excited about this specifically your school, San Jose State, man. I think this is. I can't wait to talk to Coach tomorrow.
Yep.
And I think you got a really exciting season sitting on your shoulders there.
Well, yeah. Well, so San Jose State's your darling this year.
They are. If you have not listened to my show, I am very high on San Jose State. I think this is a great year for them, and I'm excited to see the spread and shred offense in year 2 there. So, yeah, man, I think things are aligning right. Great schedule besides the Texas game, and hopefully no one gets injured. So. I think it's one of the more exciting seasons to keep an eye on. And I cover the sport, from a bird's eye view. So you pick and choose teams like Southern Miss and the Sun Belt. I'm super excited to see. But San Jose State, I think, is one of the most exciting teams in college football this season.
Year 2 of the spread and shred with Craig Stutzman. They bring back their entire running back core. They got 4 back on the offensive line. They got Walker Eget returning, which the whole carousel at quarterback last year, especially, in around the week 4, week 7 range, was definitely a learning experience. And, it was all over the place last year.
I think that's the most exciting thing, probably, if I had to pinpoint it. Yes, Ken Yamato, I think, is just such an underrated coach. But the fact that, he wasn't going with the option, which I love the option, but I also thought Stutzman's such a great OC. It was such a good hire. And then, the fact that it was year 1 in a different offense. So, seeing how the offense can, take a jump in any year. I mean, we've covered the sport for a long time, and we've talked to coaches and stuff. And normally that timing and stuff, it doesn't happen right away. It's just something, just reps and reps and reps, and also just understanding the offense. That's what has me so excited. So when they found Eget, they got that solid QB play. Now I think that you get excited to see what can you do with another year in that offense, understanding it more, getting the rhythm and timing of it down. And I think that's probably the catalyst, I think, for, how exciting the season is going to be, or at least from my point of view, sitting here in mid-July.
Yeah, and Walker Eagle's one of these guys. I mean, he was like a 4-string quarterback in 2021. He played in a game in like the fourth quarter in Kalamazoo, Michigan versus Western Michigan, and everyone's like, "Who is this guy?" And he's been in the pipeline under Brent Brennan. Coach Ken came and he stayed and he waited his turn, and now his turn's finally here.
Isn't that the best about college football?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Just give me the opportunity. You get to tune in week by week and see someone, a situation like that where he gets this opportunity, he runs with it. But you're right. I mean, he looked really good last season. I thought he established himself as the future quarterback. And I really think this year's team, especially the way the schedule aligns, I think it's set up. It's probably the most exciting season. I know they won the Mountain West with Brennan.
Yep.
But coming into it, we didn't know that they were going to be that. I thought they would be good that year. I didn't think they would win the Mountain West that year.
Sure.
So I think this one is probably the most exciting in July that it's been for a while for San Jose State football, which I think is awesome for the sport. I've always thought that program is one that there's dynamite sitting there. Someone just got to light the fuse, and yep. I feel like Niumatalolo has got inching closer and closer to that. So.
And I'll tell you what, I've said it on all of our sports broadcasts, but how hard is it to just get a 9th-year defensive coordinator with Derek Odom? Like, that is incredibly hard to come by, especially with all the landscape things now.
And yeah, I mean, that alone, just the fact he's been able to be there that long, and then the fact that Kenny was smart enough to walk in and say, wait a second, let's retain this guy if we can, which, to me, a lot of coaches like their own guys. I think sometimes to their own detriment, like sometimes you can be too loyal and say, man, this guy's been with me for 20 years, at different schools or, in the NFL or something. But for Coach Ken to come in and realize that, wait a second, he's pretty good DC, right? Continuity is a big thing to me, especially in this day and age of college football.
100%.
I mean, we've been covering the sport, my show, for 8 years. It was so much easier to project a team 8 years ago than today. Today, I mean, you're sitting there, you're like, man, this season we're previewing every team, but I'm sitting there like, there's 30 transfers on like a good chunk of almost every every conference has a few teams that have 30 to 40 transfers. It makes it incredibly hard. So the turnover, that's why I almost think the sport is also, you're starting to see, to me, as much as I feel like the national media loves to say, well, the gap is going further and further, but yet you watch the games. South Carolina had a great season last year. Old Dominion was beating them, outgained them, and fumbled the ball inside their own 10 with 3 minutes left, or they would have beat them. I think the gap is actually closer because of continuity. Yeah, that's just one example off the top of my head. You know what I mean? But I think if you can find teams with continuity, you saw Army and Navy have great seasons last year. Yep. I think a lot of that has to do with continuity and keeping the same guys on your team, because you have a leg up on all these new teams. When I say new teams, they're old teams, but they are going out in the portal and adding 40 guys. And guess what? There's no preseason. So you just boom right away, week 1. So yeah, I can't wait. And I thought Coach Ken did a great job doing that.
Yeah, man. You threw out some great points there. I mean, with just the portal now, it's just crazy how all this stuff materializes. It's like week 1, we were just talking with the Fresno State guys, new coach, new OC, new DC, they got like 3 guys back on defense. It's all like, I don't know what this team's going to be like week 1.
Yeah. And coaching matters even more, I feel like.
Right.
Even more than before, because, if you have a leg up on something, or are smart enough to retain a DC that's been there for a long time, that might know the schools in the area better than you, that is all important stuff. So you're right. I mean, it's harder for our jobs, or at least my job. I know is covering it from a bird's eye point of view. It can be, you're sitting there saying, man, I feel like I was so much better at my job a couple of years ago, but just because you knew, hey, there's 10 returning starters here, there's 8 returning starters, they'll be able to keep this. Now, like every team's 3 or 4 running starters for the most. Sometimes 1 or 2. And you're just like, I got no idea what we're looking at here. Yeah. So. But yeah, it makes the sport better though in a way. I think it makes it like more interesting. So
I'm with with you. Well, hey, thanks for the impromptu interview here and the conversation. I mean, you brought up a bunch of good points. We got to get you on the show here.
And you got to come on ours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely make that happen. We'll line it up. Colby Dant from the college experience, host of the college experience. You and Moneyline Mac, Noah Beanick. You guys do a great job.
Thank
the
you,
college
brother.
Basketball season. So we'll definitely be talking down the road. Appreciate the time.
Thank you, and you do great work as well. And you definitely got to come on the show, whether it's basketball, whether it's football. And what a great time to be a San Jose State fan, because I think you got great coaches in both sports and baseball as well. So all three sports, you're rolling. And thanks for having me.
100%.
Cheers, brother. Anytime, brother.
All right. Well, thanks to Colby Dant for coming on. We were during the break. I mean, that was the guy that we were talking to. So I mean, you want to talk about a guy that's got a personality? Like that's the definition of it. Guy that knows college in and out. Like this guy's doing Southern Miss previews. We got UNLV coming in right now. Yep. Ready whenever you are. How's it going, guys?
Good. How about you?
Good.
Richard, nice to meet you.
Richard, nice to meet you.
Gabe.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So we got actually the Mexico Lobos coming in. Yeah. You guys are gonna take hold of this one mic, all right?
All right.
So New Mexico, intriguing team this year. You guys, like a lot of teams in the Mountain West, you guys got a lot of change, and you got your first year head coach and Jason Eck. Just talk to me as two returners from last year to this year. What's been the buy-in from Coach Eck, where you're like, yes, this is the guy that year one we could really be something here in Albuquerque.
For me, it was just like his emphasis on the trenches. Like I keep talking about how he was an O-lineman during his career as a football player. And I feel like that's pretty rare to see. Like you're not seeing many head coaches who were in the trenches too. So just his understanding of like how important the trenches are to this game has been like a big impact on me. And then not to mention, you've seen what he did. He was able to do at Idaho with very little resources, and he brought that team to be very great.
Yep.
Over 10 wins, and just seeing that, we know at Mexico we have more resources. We have the chance to get more players and things like that. And then the coaches he brought in are amazing. Like you could tell they love football and they love everything about being in that facility.
100%. Talk to me about this, the quarterback running back tandem, because, you got Jack Lane, he came from Idaho, and then you got this beast and, Scotty Humphrey in the backfield. I mean, you got a piece of him last year when he was at Montana State.
I'll touch on it a little bit.
Yeah.
But our backfield is insane. I think we have three guys that had 1,000 yards rushing season last year. And just to be able to have that depth at a position like running back where, it's football, there's going to be injuries all around. And just to know that we'll have another guy and we'll be able to wear teams down over and over. And I'll let Rich go touch on
offensive line, the man that's doing it in the trenches. How's that offense, coming into fruition here, with all the changes?
Definitely just several changes, but the main thing has been just building that bond off the field. I feel like we've done a pretty good job of building that bond because most of the guys we brought in, those guys have already started. Those guys know what it's like to play college football. Those guys are very talented players all across the board, from the quarterback position to the running back, offensive line, wide receiver. So I feel like now the most important thing is to build that bond so the guy that you're playing beside on game one. We've been doing that in several ways. And the main way, like I told the last guy, just food, a lot of food. Like we go out to eat a lot. We bond through food, just love food.
All right, so here's the $1 million question for you guys. Red or green chili?
Christmas. Do you know what Christmas is?
I don't.
It's red and green chili.
There we go. The best of both worlds.
Definitely.
I love that. For yourself?
I'm definitely green chili.
Okay.
Love that green chili.
I love it. No, see, Christmas, that's a first for me. Yeah, like you're a different breed, man.
I
like that's a little bit different, because usually you get the guys, okay, I'm either all red or all in on green.
So both though.
That
extra spice.
That's something. Oh man. For you guys, I mean, you guys had a high-powered offense last year. Now, you guys got a little bit of a different regime here. For the Lobos, the big thing for me is, man, I see what the basketball team is doing, and the crowd support. How do we get that at University Stadium? Because man, like you guys are like one of the few shows in town there in ABQ. Like, how do we get the fan support to rally behind you?
We got to win some games. That's definitely the main thing. Even though we're the only show in town, nobody wants to come see us lose. And I feel like that's been a big focus with Coach Eck. Like, you could tell he's been trying to get the community more involved to get more fans to the game. Because as you mentioned, the basketball team has major success. And then speaking with our new AD, he's a very football-focused guy.
Yep.
He's been in a lot of different football programs. And you could just see him taking them steps so that we could be a basketball school and a football school.
For sure. All right, you're on offense.
No, I'm
You're on
defense.
defense.
Yes,
You're
sir.
defense. You're on offense. Give me one guy that's flying under the radar right now for the New Mexico Lobos that's going to make an impact on your respective side of the ball.
For me, it's on defense. It's a young guy named Brian Booker. He just transferred in. He's a defensive lineman. He's 320, but he's a freak athlete. I've seen him do some things where I'm like, okay, he's going to help us out a lot this year, and his name's not really known yet.
You said guys just flying under the radar.
Flying under the radar that is going to make an impact for you guys this year.
Make an impact. We got about 35 guys, I think. Those guys are all ballers. They're balls across the board. You got Mook, left guard, lot of experience, very powerful presence. Caden Robnett, very, very, very high football IQ. Isaiah Suleiman, freak athlete of nature. Got my guy Malik out of France, freak of nature. Great guys.
Well, you guys come to San Jose. I'm looking forward to seeing all those guys. Before on the way out, inspiration behind the fits. You guys go in suit and tie, keeping it professional here. You guys are the best dressed here at Mountain West Media Days.
Thank you. It's good to hear. And we just wanted to represent the city of Albuquerque first class, and that was the goal with the cherry red ties.
Love it. Well, appreciate you guys. Thanks for the time.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, looking forward to San Jose State versus New Mexico this season.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having us.
Yes, sir.
Hey, guys.
How's it going?
How you doing? Good.
Pleasure.
Good to see you guys.
We got San Jose State Athletic Director Jeff Konya. It's a marathon, fellas.
Lunch is after, so I'm just dangling the lunch.
Yeah, there you go. Yep. We got San Jose State AD Jeff Konya. Jeff, take a seat wherever you'd like. Got the mic right there.
Closer?
Yeah, sure. All right, we got San Jose State Athletic Director Jeff Konya. Obviously, Jeff, good to be talking with you here today, Mountain West Media Days. And I have to say that I feel like I talk to other media folks around just around the space here. There's a lot of buzz with San Jose State football this year.
Yeah.
How we obviously you're seeing it from the side here, but like, man, this program right now, like from what it was, maybe when you got here to what it is now, on the football side, it's taken significant strides.
Yeah, no, we're very proud of kind of where the football program is. You look at some of the metrics, going to 4 bowl games in the last 5 years. That's unprecedented. Never done that. 3 straight bowl games. I don't believe that we've ever done that in our history. So, this is a pivotal year. We're blessed that a lot of our key folks stayed with the team. They enjoy their experience and the culture that Coach Ken has built. And that's attractive in the marketplace. And with some of the transfers that came in, that we're looking for more of the kind of the family first situation. And then we hear that quite a bit through the recruiting process with the students and with the coaches, that it just feels different with San Jose State, that there's an authenticity there with Coach Ken, and that, it's not loose lips when they talk about this culture and this family. And I think that that leads to this this notion of brotherhood, similar to what Coach Brennan had built. But I think it's accentuated here with Coach Ken. And yeah, this year we're, right now we're picked third. But there's a lot of publications that have us even higher than that. And we're the hunted, not the hunter, which is a new role for San Jose State this year. And we're gonna get everybody's best shot, and hopefully our team will be prepared to take everybody's best shot and still perform against that schedule.
Yeah, especially with the expansion of the playoffs, like it's not crazy to say like, hey, you win the Mountain West, especially what Boise State did last year. Like you get into that Mountain West title game, you have a good body of work. The league overall does pretty good. Like San Jose State has a really good chance. Like, hey, we're sitting there watching the college football selection show. Like San Jose State's in the conversation to be in that 12-team playoff.
Yeah, I think Boise State last year obviously was an incredible team. It's a little unfortunate how our game went with them. I thought we came out really strong and just let it get away from us a little bit. But in terms of how Boise State put their schedule together, is very similar to how we put our schedule together this year. If you recall, they had a game at Oregon early in the schedule that was really a measuring stick game, and even though they lost that game, they performed pretty well. And so we have a measuring stick game early on too at Texas this year. They're probably going to be in the top 5 when we play them, and so we'll get a good understanding of what the upper echelon in the football world looks like, and how we perform against that, and that'll be an awesome measuring stick for us. But really our bread and butter is how we're going to do in conference, and I think we have a really balanced conference schedule in terms of the home and away mix, and if we perform against that, we're hopefully going to be able to bring a championship game to SEFQ, and wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, that would be something, because San Jose State's never hosted the Mountain West Championship game, and the crowd. It just seems like the crowd has the crowd support. We saw what basketball did with the NIT game, and it was just. It's not even crazy to say a rambunctious environment out there in the event center, and SEFQ definitely got loud for Boise State as well as some other games last year.
Yeah, Stanford also as well.
Stanford.
Yeah, it was a really attractive home schedule last year, but hats off to the students. They were incredible last year, and hopefully we can pick up from where we left off, and especially on football, and see even more attendance and more enthusiasm around the brand and the university and the football program and all of our sports. Quite honestly, I think we're going to have a really good fall. We have a new coach in women's soccer, a very accomplished coach. A men's soccer team is going to be Coach Tobin's final season, but he's put together what he said is one of his best talented teams or most talented teams. And so, the cross country is going to get going, volleyball is going to get going. So it's going to be really a fun fall here.
Obviously conference realignment is kind of like in the forefront of, everything with college athletics now. There's always seems to be a domino effect or a moving part. Seems like, every month or so now, I guess, you've done, I'd say, a good job, and, bringing back the Stanford series. You guys are going to be married to Cal here for a football matchup here for a long while. The battle for the Valley's here to stay for the long-term future. Just talk to me about, the significance of, how important it was, maybe keeping those, long existing rivalries in the regional matchups.
Yeah, no, one of the first questions I got when I was named athletic director several years ago was, are you going to be able to play Stanford and play Cal and those kind of things? It was important to our fan base, particularly our older alumni. They remember and harken back to those games with the Elways and those kind of things. And then, obviously not having played them in a long time, you saw the enthusiasm around the Stanford game last year. So we're just really thankful that, we were able to do a long series with the Cardinal, and we brought the Golden Bears along for a home and home. But, and with this unique split between the Mountain West and the Pac-12, we felt that there was still a significant opportunity with playing Fresno State, with the trophy, with the attendance, with the fan bases. It's one of our true rivals. And so This is not uncommon to have, major rivalries that sit outside of a conference, even though we have had a conference rivalry for several years now. But, Georgia Tech, those kind of like rivalries that kind of exist, even though the conference dynamics have changed. But we want to bring compelling football to our fan base, and really we've had a strategic initiative over the course of the next probably 7 years of getting as many home games as we possibly can, and that really is like getting to 7 or 8 home games rather than the 6. Because again, in college athletics, you win 70% of your home games. And so if you're able to do that, and it does take some investment, some creativity, there are going to be a couple of years here we really need to take advantage of those scheduling.
Yeah, San Jose State's got to upgraded their facilities. The resources have been coming in. With support of the student athletes. Just the situation. I know it's kind of all over the place right now, but just the NIL situation and just the support from just locally. How is just athletics doing on that end, and trying to keep up with the new landscape.
Yeah, it's challenging. On one front, it's challenging because the House settlement and the aftermath of the House settlement, we were planning for it, but it wasn't solidified until a couple of months ago. So There's just a lot of contingency planning going into it, and I think we did our fair share and had prepared as well as we possibly could for this environment. I do think there's some positive aspects to it, though, like the NIL collective was a third party for most institutions that sat outside of the structure of the institution. I think most individuals that have an affinity to help our programs or want to get involved in helping on this front are, I think, feel more comfortable by giving the money directly to the institution than to a third party, certainly from like a tax standpoint or favorable tax standpoint and those kind of things. So I think some of that's going to get redirected from our, and we're so thankful for our donors and our sponsors. But yeah, we've created everything from the form to the process to discussing with the Mountain West how we were going to create kind of a fund to get this thing started. And what I've shared on almost every one of these interviews is we look at it as we're going to take part in revenue share. We opted in, but we're going to start probably in the kiddie pool rather than going right into the deep end. Sure. And kind of make sure that we are comfortable with it. But we will be, taking part in revenue share this year. And, we plan to continue to build on that platform moving forward and giving these opportunities to the student athletes.
Well, I feel like if you were to ask, just the fans, just heading into, the fall sports season, that there, there's a lot of buzz. If we would, from 5 years ago, San Jose State, they've definitely, athletics as a whole has definitely taken a stride, which is obviously, the right direction you want to be in. So, that's definitely a positive sign. And, obviously it's one of those things like, you always got to be, you got to kind of have an open door policy on everything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No, we've had a really, we've been blessed here recently with some of our performances and our results. And I just got asked the question about, being named the best sports brand in the Bay Area by the Mercury News for the last 2 years. I don't think we'd won that award maybe once in our history.
Right.
And now we go back to back. That's significant. I think that just suggests that the brand is getting a little bit stronger. And it's certainly the athletic ascent is matching the ascent of the university as a whole. Some of the metrics that are coming out where we're the 4th best public institution in the country. Yep. We were just named again a 5-star educational place with several other campuses from California. I think all of that suggests that when you have a high caliber academic environment and you marry that with athletics and the marketing opportunity in athletics, and success yields success, that's a special relationship, and hopefully we're all going to prosper because of it.
There you have it. San Jose State Athletic Director Jeff Konya, and an exciting San Jose State fall season awaits, and it'll start with the football season, and then soccer and basketball, and everything else will follow. So definitely looking forward to documenting the progress. And thanks for the time.
Yeah, no, thank you for having us, and great credit to you guys for being here. And we really enjoy our relationship with the channel, and congratulations on all your success.
Yeah, thank you very much. There you have it. San Jose State Athletic Director Jeff Konya. Thanks for the time, and we're gonna actually take a short break here. We got ourselves, I imagine, a lunch break coming up here pretty quick. So okay. So yeah, we're gonna have some interviews, but we're gonna take a short break, and when we come back, we'll have another interview with Nevada, San Jose State up on deck. So we will be right back.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
All right, we are back live at Mountain West Media Days, day one with the student athletes, with the Nevada Wolfpack. We got Thomas Whitty, we got Chuba Purdy. Fellas, how we doing?
Doing good.
Got a lot of we got it sells a whole lot of chaos going on. Huh?
Jenga's falling over there. Lunch is going on.
Yeah, I know. Everybody's congregating near us, but hey, thanks for taking some time for us today. Look, Nevada. I mean, you guys were both on this team last year. I mean,
Yes, sir.
I thought you guys were ultra competitive in so many games last year, and I thought your guys' record really didn't portray what you guys really brought on the field. Jeff Choate entering year 2, your head coach. I mean, he's gotten a lot out of you guys defensively. Just talk about the culture and what he's brought into Reno since he arrived.
Yeah, I mean, when he arrived on the campus, he brought this idea of unified, competitive, and a tough team. And that's right up my alley, my mindset. And, I didn't know exactly, when he first showed up, what I was going to do, if I was going to stick around, if I was going to leave. But then when you start building a relationship with your head coach like we have with him, it really makes you want to play for a guy. And that's the way that we feel. That's the way our team feels. I feel like coach is in the trenches with us, battling just like the rest of us.
No, yeah, Coach Choate's been amazing. Like you said, he's going to year 2, and all of us guys, we put our faith and trust in him. And like we talk about, like in our team meetings, he's so intense and he's got so much passion for the game. I feel like that's just it goes a long ways. And the way he pours out his heart and soul into his players is awesome. Like, he's all over the facility all the time. He's always there. If you need him, boom, Choate's right there. So I think just those kind of things go a long way, and it's going to trickle into the season.
All right, Chuba, don't lie to me.
Oh, here you go.
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah.
His name's Chubba.
Chubba.
Okay.
Chubba. No, you're good.
That's my fault.
I've heard both. I've heard everything.
All right. Well, Chubba, we're not going to ask you about your brother here today, but just how many people have asked you about how many people have asked you about
My brother today?
Yeah.
What do you? I mean, you've been around everybody.
Okay, don't worry. We're not going.
It's probably been about 15 to 20 people, probably.
Okay,
easily.
So like
everyone,
everybody.
Yeah.
All right, we're not going to go that direction
I
today.
appreciate it.
All right, here's the direction we are going to go though. You were initially committed to San Jose State.
Yep.
While back. Just talk to me. If you don't mind. Just about that process. You decommitted. You go to Nevada. Was it just about the change, the coaching change at the time, or was Nevada just a little bit more intriguing on your end? What was that? What was the vision then on that end for you at that time?
Man, I was fully committed to San Jose. I committed, and then literally 2 days later, Coach Brennan goes to U of A.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is just insane. So then Coach Choate hit me back up because I was talking to him before. He's like, hey, he's like, Coach Brennan, he's going to go to U of A. He was telling me that the next day after I committed. I was like, I don't know. I think he's going to stay. And he ended up leaving. So then Coach Choate was like, come on a visit. Literally went on a visit that day. So flew out to Reno, loved it. And I know Coach Choate from a little bit from 2018. So really loved Reno. And then I was like, I want to play for Coach Choate. So that's why I came to Reno.
That's awesome. You're gonna obviously, you've been on several stops in your collegiate career,
Yep.
and it looks like you're gonna get yourself an enhanced role here at the quarterback position. I mean, you came in, you were like the gadget guy last year, coming in for trick plays in San Jose. Now
Yep.
you're gonna be navigating this offense mostly here, in Reno. Just talk to me about, the responsibilities here, and of being, QB1 here, and what it's going to take here to win some football games.
Yeah, last year I was like a gadget player. I got hurt, so the quarterback role was already out. So, Lewis, he was the quarterback, and they were trying to squeeze me in at running back, receiver, all that stuff. So I'm finally happy to be back to focusing on quarterback. I don't have to focus on all that other stuff. So now I'm quarterback again, lead this team and, get the group of guys to just rally around each other and be ready to roll for the 2025 season.
This is a question for both of you guys, because obviously you guys know your team better than anybody else. And I've been asking all of the players this, but, give me one under the radar guy that's been showing up every day, has been putting in the work that maybe nobody here at Mountain West Media knows about here yet, that everyone's going to know when the football season starts.
Defense
and offense.
So a defensive player who I think will have a pretty good season this year is he's a defensive end. His name's Dylan Lavavera.
The guy works, I mean, twice as hard as anybody else on our team, I believe. I mean, the guy is just a stud. He's got the right mindset. I think that he's going to have big things coming this year.
I would say Jet Carpenter. He's a transfer from Eastern Washington, and I mean, this guy is insane. I mean, he can block, run, catch. He's going to be an amazing asset for our offense. So I think Jet Carpenter.
One more on the way out. Fourth quarter for you guys. You know, execution late in games. You know, I've always heard, you know, people talk about it takes a skill to win, you know, games late in the fourth quarter, you know, to close out games. You guys were in a bunch of nail biters last year. San Jose, Boise, you know, you name it. What is it going to take for you guys, you know, to come on the right side of those games here, you know, even on the other side of the 2-minute warning?
Yeah, well, this year, Coach Cho, he made a big emphasis on we invested a lot in team building and building camaraderie and bringing in guys who would match the culture and the attitude of the players who have stayed. And so we believe that will pay huge dividends when it hits the fourth quarter. Instead of our team going and separating or, you know, not being able to close those situations, our team will become a tighter entity and hopefully finish out some of these games.
Yep. No, I'm with him. Yeah, the key word for us this year is just finish. So
absolutely love it. Best of luck this year, guys. And San Jose State versus Nevada in Reno this year should be a good one. Appreciate the time, guys.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. So look, thanks guys. Appreciate y'all. So we got ourselves a brief intermission here. I know, but we're gonna have a plethora of interviews coming between San Jose State, UNLV, plenty more along the way. So we're gonna take a break. We're gonna probably have interviews probably coming in about 45 minutes time. So 1 p.m. We'll drop it in the chat. So if anyone is popping in and out, whatever the case may be, you will have the intel on that information. But we're gonna go ahead, take a step away, be right back, and when we come back, we're gonna have San Jose State, Walker Eget, Taniela Latu, plenty more here on Mountain West Media Days Day 1, as I'd say we are just about halfway through our coverage here. So don't go anywhere. We got a whole lot of good stuff coming your way.